Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for waiting. The traffic to get in was a bit chaotic, and I know we are standing between you and the lunch, so we'll make this session as delectable as a starter at the lunch. So before I start this session, I'm glad to have many illustrious people on the panel come from the industry. Before I start the conversation, I'm reminded of an incident. And this incident was with a friend. This guy was having a lot of traveling job. And whenever he used to get back home, he used to say the first thing that he used to do is to turn off the Wi-Fi. And when he turns off the Wi-Fi, everybody comes out, the family members. This story is not new. This story is not strange. Because all those people in his household were living on the digital channels. And after that, we didn't catch up for quite some time. And then subsequently, after several months, I caught up with him again. And I asked him what's happening. So he says, yaar, at Kaun Banega Karodpati, you people pay fastest finger first. But at my home, there's always a fastest finger first between my mother and my wife. And there's shopping without any abandon online. And there's always a competition between both of them. So this poor guy was caught between the millennials and the mother, who is probably an octogenarian, maybe around 80 years, but the mother behaves like a Gen Z. So this is what is happening, and thanks to people on the panel, on this stage, who are enabling those experiences, right? We're talking about conversational commerce, where you will come up with interfaces, whether it's on a digital channel, whether it is on an app, or avenue, messaging app, or whatever is the avenue, and you enable the commerce. And people on the stage have facilitated it over a period of time, and they contribute to these transactions, not like, small amount of transactions. Route Mobile has contributed to over 100 million transactions. WhatsApp payment, I've lost the count. How many is the count? Maybe Aditi can tell about. And Amit from PayU has also enabled it. So maybe, using the conventional pattern of ladies first, we will go with Aditi and get her views in terms of how is she seeing this particular space evolving from a conversational commerce. What are the trends and what are the things that we can expect? Over to you, Aditi.
Sure. Thanks, Rajesh. So I think from our side, and of course, there's a lot of chatter about conversational commerce. Over the years, we've obviously seen tremendous growth, and I think currently about 50% of all businesses globally are on conversational platforms to interact with consumers, and I think by 2028, it's predicted that at least 90% of these merchants globally would be leveraging these platforms. Right, so, and specifically for WhatsApp, just over the last 2 years, I'm sure everyone sitting here would have seen that change as well. There's been a lot more adoption, right, and openness for consumers to interact with businesses on WhatsApp as a platform, right? Initially, it used to be more about, friends and family chats that you had, but more so in the last few years with COVID, etc., we've seen that shift, right? And our vision really as WhatsApp Business Messaging has been to make interaction between users and businesses as simple, reliable, and easy as it is for you to, send messages to friends and family, your good morning and your good night. Right, so even within our ecosystem, right, we have over 600 million users just within India.
600 million.
Right, and are growing. And within that, right, at least 60% of the users interact with the business every week. They open their WhatsApp messages 30 times a day, right? Wow. So that's the amount of engagement that the platform has in India alone. And that's why, right, the thought really is to make those a lot more meaningful conversations. So it's not just about communication, but it's actually about conversations and making that meaningful. So just, from our standpoint, some of the trends largely that we've seen and that we've really focused on is how do we enable features for the merchants and for the businesses to have a lot of these like seamless conversations. And we actually, in fact, just this year did a report, right, Bain and Company published a report. There are about 650 million users that are in the digital funnel in India, right, that are actually using like phones, that are messaging, that are on websites. Out of that, only 200 million are truly savvy digital users, right? And what I mean by that is they are actually shopping online, they're actually doing e-commerce. 450 million are only using these digital channels for content consumption, right? It's only messaging, it's YouTube, it's videos, etc. So of the digitally savvy, people are actually reaching a stage of app saturation, right? So they do not want to be forced, nudged to downloading new apps by businesses. They want frictionless journeys. And in the non-digitally savvy consumers, what we're seeing is for them to actually do a lot more e-commerce, they need more simple, easy, and assisted shopping experiences, right? And that's really where WhatsApp comes in. And we've built these sort of journeys and different features that we've enabled, including the native payments experience, so that the entire process of discovery to consumption and repurchase that you have with your consumers happen natively in a safe and secure manner.
Wonderful, Aditi. You do refer to some large numbers, 600 million users opening WhatsApp 30 times a day, and there is an intention to buy. So you're basically saying when there's an intention to buy, you capitalize it by giving a seamless kind of a payment experience. Going to Amit. Amit, you represent PayU, which enables a lot of businesses in this particular area. So what are you seeing this space evolving as in terms of, are there any trends? So it'll be good to get your insights.
Yeah, sure, and thanks Rajesh, and greetings to the audience. It's always a pleasure to be back at GFF. Inside the Geo World Center, not on the road, definitely not the traffic. Rest everything is very pleasurable. It's, it's great to interact, learn new ideas. Some tidbits I heard from Aditi, although we work very closely. I'll just take a leaf out of her book. And try to build it from there. See, look at these stats, and you can find these stats in not too many geographies. What she said is like our smartphone penetration is now roughly 800 million. She can correct me, she's probably more updated. Our social media users are 700 million and 600 million are WhatsApp users. Now, guys, what does this indicate? Okay, I'll give you a couple of trivia. She mentioned that a typical user logs into WhatsApp 25 to 30 times in a day.
Yeah.
So just one more trivia, and I'd like to hear from the audience. What is the amount of time an average Indian user spends on a social media platform? All the Facebooks, the Insta and WhatsApp, everything, all the, paraphernalia of the world. An average Indian user, how much time does he or she spends on the social media per day? The lady got it right. The ladies typically get it right because the larger part of it is contributed by the ladies. No puns intended. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. But yes, but it helps you. So we are like mostly on business, but yeah, all the shopping, the conversation to commerce journey, I think ladies are leading the brigade, so that's great. Yes, it is close to 3 hours per day. Now 3 hours per day, that means you're roughly spending 20% of your awake time on social media platforms, on internet, and Rajesh just mentioned the Wi-Fi analogy, so I'm just connecting. So we see a user behavior changing, right? It is not some mere stats, you'll have to understand. How does this influence some of the segments or adoption that we are talking about in the market? And we see it very closely because, we power the payments. We are all about the tech evolution which is happening on the payment side, whether it is, the modes that we are talking about, the flows that are there, the platforms, and so on and so forth. So I believe, Rajesh, your question was the adoption in some.
How do you enable the business?
How do I enable the business? So I'll take example of say BFSI. See, what does WhatsApp stand for? So conversation commerce can be anything. It can be WhatsApp, it can be SMS, it can be email, it can be those social media platforms, it can be chatbots, so on and so forth. But the way, no one stands in a position where WhatsApp stands, right? 600 million users. So what are the benefits? Let's just look at it. It is proliferation, it is convenience, it is technology, it is reliability, right? All those features are there. So if I take an example of, say, a BFSI segment, where we are seeing initial successes coming, maybe the velocity is much more higher. So if I am a insurance customer, what do I seek? That I don't have to stand in a queue and make the payment, that I don't have to run around for claim settlement, that I don't have to reach out to my agent or my bank branch or whatever channel you have booked your policies for servicing of my insurance, and so on and so forth. Now WhatsApp enables all those things. A conversation platform enables all those things, and the migration, as Aditi very beautifully explained, that from conversation, how that journey happens. So we enable the payment modes, you've enabled all the features which are there, and it becomes very convenient on simple click, single click checkouts and all that, the journey gets through. Now how WhatsApp has also evolved over a period of time is also important. Let's understand the journey. So earlier it's a conversation platform. Then with UPI being enabled, it was P2P transaction which started, right?
Yeah.
Peer-to-peer transactions which started. So if I had to transfer money to say Tushar, I used to do that transaction. From there, it evolved into a link-based payment or P2M transaction, which is a redirect mode. So if there's a link which is pasted, say, again, going back to insurance example, that for paying premium, this is the link, you click and you land at the page of the insurance company or make that payment there. So there's a hop which is there. So it's a redirect mode. From there, we evolved into a more native experience. Sorry, my vision is blocked. Yeah, so native experience where on the platform you are able to do end-to-end transaction. So yeah, the journey is evolving. Now we are moving towards more value-added features, more secure platforms, adding more modes, maybe a subscription, maybe more security features by way of tokenization, Alt ID, you can safely secure your cards and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's how the journey is evolving. All of you are banking customer. So since we are talking about BFS, I'll just take 30 seconds more.
Yeah, sure.
So like I'm a SDFC customer. If you go into SDFC and they have those WhatsApp handlers by which they keep communicating. Can anyone guess the number of services they have made available on WhatsApp itself? 40? What's your good name, sir? Sanket. Very near Sanket. So 35 services are there on that platform. Good you didn't leak the paper. So 35 services on WhatsApp where you can do a very, very native experience then and there only. So you can book an FD, you can apply for a card, you can check your account balances, so on and so forth. So it becomes so seamless. 5 years back, what is the banking experience look like? FD is like very convenient, and it will evolve further. So we'll take it later. So
basically, Amit, what you're saying is while people have access to some of those services from a business side, the access may become difficult, or to integrate into the native apps it is difficult, and that's where PayU comes in and enables that summary of that.
Yeah, so payment experience we enable, customer experience we enable by way of payment journey. So right. As I said, from a redirect to a native, within native also experience keeps on evolving.
Thank you. So now coming to Tushar, a couple of days ago I was watching the speech by Honorable RBI Governor, where he was talking about bringing in unified lending interface on the UPI stack. As it is, people have an option of lot of payments, and because of which we see a commerce booming. And now that you make lending also seamless and accessible on an app interface, it is going to spur the commerce further with seamless connectivity and the seamless experiences like this. How are you seeing this space evolving from a route mobile perspective and also from an industry perspective?
Look, from our perspective, we basically provide a platform where any company can latch on and start using a platform to communicate with their customers and end users. Now, look, first of all, with the advent of the payment integration on our OTT platform has already scaled up the kind of transactions we've been observing through our platform over the last quarter or so. I guess, that as brands are getting more and more aware, we see this going to the smaller organization, D2C setup, who want to reach out to customers directly, which means that this space will continue growing at a crazy pace, UPI transaction, we also hear that it's crossed 14 billion in the month of May, and the count is still going up. So from our side, we're only scaling up our capacities to ensure that whichever channel the enterprise is trying to reach the end users, we make them enough TPS. TPS basically transactions per second available to them.
Right.
So I guess D2C is the segment to watch out for, because so many brands, so many organizations are setting up the shops, and they see it, an easy way not only to reach and educate the customer about the services, but conclude it on the same transaction, on the same platform. With we providing them, of course, we work very closely with WhatsApp, we work with RCS, we've seen the entire journey of SMS, and in fact, we processed 10 billion messages a month before. So that's the kind of scale up which we've already observing, D2T, D2C, SMBs, small organization, the large companies are already there doing it. But I guess the next step is to understand the behavior. Now the brands kind of capture the entire journey of the user.
Right.
Over the period, they even understand their behaviors. They understand exactly what the preferences are. Perhaps that's what, where the brands have to start, peeping in. Interesting thing will be that, the DPDP Act is around the corner. We, of course, hear and understand when it's notified. It's not notified as yet. So how, to what extent you can process that knowledge and start bringing it to use, to sell your offerings to the end users.
Understood. So in addition to just providing the payment interfaces, you're saying you'll also give a lot of intelligence to maybe a smaller sized merchants and businesses to go to direct to the consumer and also enable payment from that perspective?
Look, not really, because we are one of the platform, we assure our partners, our enterprise customers, that we do not peep into your knowledge, your information into data. But we work with certain partners who are able to fetch them, and we are integrated with them who fetch them that information. So yes, combined, we offer tons of knowledge to the brands.
And staying on that particular thought and reversing the order.
Actually, Rajesh, just to add on that, because you did touch upon ULI, just what we're seeing from a payment standpoint on WhatsApp specifically, we've actually seen one of the early sectors where we've seen success on WhatsApp payments has been in lending, right? Anything to do with collections.
Right.
So be it insurance, EMI, credit cards. Collections are seeing extremely high success on WhatsApp for a few reasons, right? One, your customers is a lot more engaged on WhatsApp compared to SMS or email or your sort of IVR calling platforms that you have, right? So they're opening the message. It's a very clear CTA, right? That your sort of loans are due tomorrow, pay now, and it's a seamless then experience and a safe experience. So not only are people completing, so even the conversion. One is the open rate. Two is the conversion is a lot higher than legacy methods. And third is also a large part of the success rates and then the loop, right? Because then as partners like Route Mobile, et cetera, would actually have a full view of a customer journey to say this was the loan they took, these are some of their preferences, they've made the payment. You can actually then also loop that back into what we have is ads, right? We have click to WhatsApp ads. So what the partners can support merchants, which are insurance companies, et cetera, and we're already seeing success there, is you can run lead generation related ads on Instagram, very targeted because you understand your demographic now, And then you are actually seeing that conversion. We're seeing 70% higher conversions happening on the click to WhatsApp ad journeys. So the lead gen is higher. And 63% higher ROI on the ads you're running on Instagram through WhatsApp compared to legacy. So this sector specifically, I think with ULI would only boom and get more players on our platform, but is definitely something we've seen success with.
Wonderful. You've just given a new definition for D2C. D2C, Tushar said direct to customer, and Aditi is saying direct to collect. So you can collect directly from those end users.
It's only one thing that,
fascinating.
When you actually pushing a collection to a message. So I guess, RBI is still not allowed banks to open up APIs to pick up, the information about a user's balances and then trigger a message. So it's being pushed right now by most of the brands. But the most interesting part is when you send these message and you don't get a response, you get a sense of intent also of the user.
Correct.
So that's very important information you are capturing of the user.
Right.
And that perhaps, you define what is my roadmap for the user going to be in days to come,
And also sensing the mood in the audience. I'm sure some of them are already engaging with LLM as this session is going on with the Gen AI tools. So staying on that particular subject, how do you see this space being transformed from a generative AI or maybe AI at large?
So LLM is, large language model. Basically, an example is a ChatGPT. And now when you bring it to, a scenario where you are addressing this, or you have an enterprise version of this for a bank, what can it do for you? In my opinion, it can draw a very customized financial plan for the user.
Right.
It can, basis your spending pattern, can even suggest, and this, of course, will all happen with the user's consent. But of course, the starting point is that you need to have users consent before you go ahead and even look at and process such information.
Assuming those things are
those things in place. So it can even track your spending patterns. Over the month, if you have been a customer with them and you, let's take an example, you are a credit card user, you are a debit card user at the same bank, they have loads of information sitting with them, which perhaps mean that it can even tell you that over a few months, how your spending pattern has been.
Right.
Are you spending how much in dining, on your groceries? It can give you all insights, Apart from that, because it brings some interesting voice features also, it any such Gen AI tool actually runs through your transcripts of all the customer interaction you may have in past, the call centers may have in past. It can start, even giving you very good suggestions. Start nudging the agents sitting at the call center that, look, the tonality of this guy is slightly aggressive. So while you're handling this inquiry or this problem, perhaps, tread cautiously,
Right.
Lot of conversation or a lot of voice conversation, commerce will start happening because of the LLM tool, as and when used by the banks, So these are a few things I believe that will help the FSI sector to scale up.
Thank you, Tushar. You do bring up an important aspect in terms of what happens is generally when people get into the spending mode, there's always this concern, are they overspending? And there are very limited checks and balances that are available. So you're saying the Gen AI tool may be able to bring that advocacy and the checks and balance over a period of time. That could be one.
These are services which we presume can be, or which we envisage can be offered by banks to the end users.
Wonderful. So Amit, from your perspective, again, in terms of while there are a lot of transactions, there's also a little bit of a concern in terms of a safety perspective, protecting the personally identifiable information, PII, and it also becomes a very good hunting ground for the cyber actors as well, right? So how are you seeing that particular safety piece evolve?
Okay, so I'll break it down into two parts, the question that you asked me. So there is one, which is the conversation platform, the safety and security there, and then there is a payment leg to it, right? The conversation platform, which is say a WhatsApp, then they have their own security, their own algorithms, whether it is end-to-end encryption, business validation, two-factor authentication, etc., which we ride on. Coming on to the payment side, there are right from onboarding to processing and post-sales process, there is security protocols everywhere. So like KYC validation while onboarding a merchant. or integrating the PGs, we like PCI DSS compliant.
Right.
So the secure PGs are there, the secure APIs are there, and the transaction is also happening over a secure protocol. We have our own risk engines, our own data security protocols, and whatever information we collect, it is post-customer authentication only, so that the laws of land, everything, the various acts or certification which is involved in the processes, we take care of everything. Besides, like if I can talk about PayU. We are one of the largest and the oldest player here, and on our platforms, history will tell you there's no data breach which has happened. There is no security breach which has happened. Minor incidences here and there, but then everything is in-house in terms of security of transactions end to end.
Wonderful. So coming back to Aditi, you did mention about many interfaces being available on WhatsApp. Is there a specific interface from a security perspective, or what you as an organization is doing to promote those safety practices? For example, at the beginning I did mention to you about an 80-year-old woman who behaves like a Gen Z and then gets ordering continuously. So for segment of that nature, we're rarely aware of safety aspects, privacy aspects. There's a lot to be done. So it'll be interesting to get the perspective from your side, from your company side. Of course, you did introduce an interface called the Meta AI on the WhatsApp, where you can engage with that. So it'll be good to get your perspective.
Sure. So, for Meta and WhatsApp specifically, we're definitely privacy first, right? So, our core of the service is that the messages you send are end-to-end encrypted.
Absolutely.
So we absolutely, so that's the starting point, right? Unlike other payment applications, etc., the way we, approach our merchants and our clients, so the way you should view WhatsApp is your dedicated channel, similar to your website and your app. Right? It is a channel that only you have visibility to with your clients. WhatsApp doesn't have the data. We don't have visibility to it, right? And we do not use your data to cross-sell or upsell, other products or sell it to other merchants or clients either, right? You'll see many other applications selling you lending, insurance, other products, metro tickets, etc., based on your geolocation, based on the data that they could have gotten from other transactions that are happening on their platform. That is not something WhatsApp does. So it's either a user-initiated message. So if you have to buy a metro ticket, the user has to say hi to the metro, right? Or if it is related to your insurance and the sales that are happening, it is businesses reaching out on their dedicated channel. WhatsApp will not start to sell, run ads, etc., on our own, right, on merchant channels. So that is the first sort of, the principle that we operate with. That is the bedrock for WhatsApp. And the difference, it is a conversational channel first. It's a messaging platform. Payments, etc., are an enabler to make that entire conversational experience seamless so that there's less fraud, right? The second point, coming to payments specifically, what we were seeing was, because the messaging channel was encrypted and one-on-one between the merchants and the users, right, payment links were given, right? There were links being sent traditionally in order for payments to be done, and users were redirected to external websites. Now, because we have no visibility to that, there was increasing levels of fraud, right? Security theft, etc., happening where on UPI and other payment methods, because the user was redirected outside WhatsApp to external pages, right? And we don't know what those pages would be, which is why we also integrated our own native payments experience, right? That way, we have a view, we've partnered with industry-known and licensed, payment aggregators such as PayU, Razorpay, who are enabling the entire experience. So that ensures that there's no, reduction in theft, and we've already seen that happen. And sort of finally, what we also have and we've launched is a Meta Verified offering, right? So Meta Verified, you'll see the green tick or the blue tick. So for every business, we perform additional due diligence at our end in order to verify them as a business on the platform so that users have a lot more comfort interacting with them and transacting with them.
Understood.
Just to add to what she's saying,
yes,
I believe this is important. See, payment journey also involves the regulatory aspect, which is related to the commercial transaction online. So, off late, you would have seen there are a lot of regulatory changes which has happened. So there is, data localization or tokenization of the payment instrument which is there.
Right.
3DS2 protocols which has come, right? So we ensure that one of the aspects of a payment player also has become that you also are into regulatory tech, reg tech as the new term which has come. So we take care of all these dynamic regulatory requirement also.
Right.
So instrument which irrespective, agnostic of the platform, whether it is WhatsApp or it's a direct integration, etc. The instrument fidelity will be there. It will be encrypted. The consent, etc. is taken. So regulatory aspect is also very, very important.
Absolutely.
If I might add a few things, at Root Mobile, what we're doing is to make the entire ecosystem safer. We're working along with telcos with some interesting solutions. So SIM swap is one of the, in fact, I was reading a couple of days back, and Army personnel got lost of all his life saving because his SIM was issued at one of the Airtel store. Sorry, I should not be naming, but it at one of the telco store.
One of the telco
store at, and which led to his money, getting lost to a fraudster. Now, what we can do is, that we can, for any such large value transaction or even for small value transaction, we can do a quick SIM swap check.
Right.
So this is, with of course telecom operators, we can identify in last couple of hours or last few hours any SIM has been, or the handset has, or the instrument, or the user instrument has, the SIM shifted and it's been used in some new handset, So that's a trigger we can give to all the banking clients. Aside that is an AFA, which is additional or an alternate, authentication, which is factor authentication, which is being recommended by or suggested by the RBI. So we have another, authentication measure where by reading the certain parameters of the handset, we can identify whether the request which has come is from the right instrument or not.
Understood. So there are a lot of interesting things happening in this place. At one end, you see the usage exploding. At the other hand, you have a lot of enabling factors. You spoke about multiple interfaces and also the security aspects. Maybe we'll take one question from the audience, and then we'll wrap it up. Any question from the audience? Yes, please.
So, a quick question. On WhatsApp, as of now, we are talking about conversational commerce, but it's more like a rule-based system, right? There is no huge conversation happening as such. I can't talk to a business. I just can't go to a metro app saying that, or a metro conversational chat saying that, can you please book a ticket from this station to this station? And that doesn't do that. You have to go and select everything. So it's mostly like a rule-based. So how can we make it more conversational? Are there any thoughts or any developments happening in that area?
Yeah, actually on point because we didn't touch on this. The key thing that's coming in, of course, you may have seen the Meta AI that's already there, right? So we have our own LLM, which is called Llama 3.1 that's recently launched. So with that, we are actually seeing a lot more enhancements that we're making, right? So actually, even these conversations will become a lot more fluid and contextual in nature. For example, you can actually say, book me, tickets from X to Y. They will book you one metro, one bus, one auto, right? So you can actually create that integrated experience. A couple things need to happen for that. One, of course, we're doing the Gen AI features that we are giving to partners so that they can implement these innovative journeys. The second is also ONDC marketplaces that are being built on WhatsApp, right? And we are welcoming partners that can provide these solutions, right? We work through an ecosystem of partners. So we have partners currently actually building the buyer and seller side ecosystems on WhatsApp. So you'll have stores where you can go and say, I want to purchase a fridge. This is my budget. These are the specs I want. They will throw out suggestions on what those options would be. So this is definitely already in the works. And given all of these different features and, and things that are coming up that we are continuously building, you'll be able to build more richer experiences on the platform.
Yeah, we can take that offline because the host is. So basically, one is in terms of the conversational interface that Aditi had alluded to. And there's a lot of cognition that gets embedded into these apps. One is in terms of pull, the other one is from terms of push. There's a lot of stuff which is happening, but in the paucity of time, apologies, we can take this conversation offline. Over to you now.
Thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause for our lovely panelist and moderator. and such lovely insights that we just shared. Thank you for your kind presence on the stage now. And very quickly, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to mention all our partners. If you want to have a group photo, maybe, yes, we can all have it right away.